the September 15, 2025 meeting of the Municipal Authority. We've just returned from an executive session of the board to discuss certain privileged matters. And at this point in time, I'll do a roll call. Steve Mackel.
Here.
Walter Virginis.
Here.
Tim Kelly.
Here.
Kevin Moyer.
Here.
Maria Keynes here. Our solicitor, Mike Madron, is here as well. Dave Porter from McCumbie Engineers. Stephen Neese, our township manager.
Here.
And Director of Operations for the Municipal Authority, Caitlin Sullivan.
Here.
All right, at this time, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and with liberty and justice for all. Everybody's had a chance to review the minutes from our prior meeting of August 18. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Oh, that's right. Sorry. Consider approving the agenda. I apologize. Okay, everybody's had a chance to review the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Yes.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you,
Second.
Walter. Second from Steve. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, next, moving on, public comment for agenda items only. I see we have some members of the public here. Is there something on the agenda? And if not,
say that what these folks are here for, if I'm guessing, right, is probably at least agenda adjacent. You know,
yes,
and rather than make them have to listen to the engineer's report, which I have trouble staying awake for some nights, maybe we do them the courtesy of letting them speak now.
if you would like to speak now, you can. So just individually go up to the podium and just state your name and your address. And let us know what you are here for.
Mike, for the minutes, am I taking down everything, name, address, comment? What am I supposed to include?
Just name, address, and then the general, like, top
Just
level, the
Top
comment
level.
was related to this.
Okay, thank you.
The record, I like this.
You do,
Well, you're welcome to wait till the end of the agenda to make the vote. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My name is Jeffrey Corson. This is my wife, Lise Corson. We're the owners of 311 French Road for the past 14 years. I think this group is aware that there's a sanitary sewer line and storm drain project that runs through an easement on our property. So two separate projects, as I understand. We are very upset that a 50-year-old bamboo forest and 8 trees were removed from our adjacent properties in this easement. The forest was 80 to 100 feet tall and quite beautiful. It is now gone. The removal has left a field of bamboo stumps cut off at ground level and revealed 2 major sinkholes that were hidden in this bamboo forest. Today, Jurg started the excavation and accidentally cut our Comcast Wi-Fi line. They also blocked our mailbox, so we didn't get any mail today. We have been very accommodating to the contractors that have been there so far. Without being asked, we provided access to them across our driveway, which is not part of the easement, to make the whole process that much easier. As you know, bamboo is very insidious and roots cannot be covered with topsoil and grass seed. Within 6 months, the property will be unmanageable with shoots growing through that grass. We know that you'll be reviewing in the near future a proposal to remove the bamboo roots and fill the sinkholes. Our expectation, which we feel is reasonable and consistent with the easement, is to return our property in a usable state with seeded topsoil once all the roots have been removed. That's what we had for you tonight, and I appreciate you giving us the time and the consideration. Thank you.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
we actually have 2 easements. Wanted to tell you that we never really, first of all, told when this was going to occur. That was even happening until we had work to figure out. No one came with a project or anything like that. The town was hard because nobody seemed to know. Once we figured it out, they told us this was like happening, I guess, in 5 times. Later informed by our neighbors that we were told maybe it was actually gonna have to fall, they were, so there's just been very poor communication. Tell you, as far as our yard, we've really been hit the hardest as far as building on that. But when we met with the engineers a few times, you know, it seemed to be like it was a kind of like a work in progress, like this is where it kind of is. The markings were wrong the first time. And then remark again. And, you know, the patio that was removed, and part of the patio that was removed probably wasn't going to be removed. Because they offered to have moved for me. Down to the ground. Lined it a couple of times.
Reminded the contractor or?
Reminded the engineers, because they came out and they offered to move one of our trees, and so we moved this one small enough, move it to another end of the property. I didn't ask for that. One tree, and then later, but we can't. Bucket trucks to get it out, okay? It's been very poor communication. I don't know how they're going to leave the back of my property. I don't even know what's gonna happen. All the out boulders that they dug out of the lawn, that the edge of the property. I don't, but just like some clarity on what's gonna happen. Done about that, but a little bit of clarity, more clarity on what it's gonna look like, what they're going to put back, what they're not. The natural things like. But I just think the whole thing was very poorly.
And what's your first name? I'm sorry.
You were always told that this work had to within the easement, it could go out of the easement, everything was confined to the easement. There's sewer pipe sitting on a front lawn, it's really not. There's stuff that's not in the easement. The easement seems to be getting wider. And trees are getting trimmed, removed, that maybe not in the easement. I'm curious as to who kind of oversees it. Who's the referee to make sure that these guys doing what they're supposed to do? I haven't seen anybody.
Has Dave, you've been at the property?
I have not been. I have not been out to the property.
Anybody on your office?
Jeremiah McCombie would be the one, that would be the point of
Oh,
contact.
so
in the field
Jeremiah.
out there. Yeah.
Okay.
I have not talked to him today, so
I was told he was out there,
Because I did email
Jeremiah.
them about our tree.
yeah, if you can't get in touch with anybody, give me a call.
Even for-
I would be.
I think we can make some arrangements to have
Yep.
some, you know, an engineer out there if, you know, it gives some more clarity as to what's happening next. Maybe some kind of a timeline from the contractor now that, construction is underway.
So we did receive a written schedule from the contractor
Oh,
on
perfect.
Friday. You know, I was out of the office on Friday, so I did get an email early this morning from Ms. Hannigan with regard to schedule and timing. Just because of how things were today with my schedule, I wasn't able to get that out to the folks on French Road until late today. So, but that timing identifies from beginning to end what they anticipate as far as tree removal, pipe installation for sanitary sewer, pipe replacement for the storm sewer, and then final restoration. It goes to early October.
And could you have a conversation with them, Dave, prior to sending that out, and just make sure they don't have any proposed changes to that as of now?
Yeah, and it's a tentative schedule based on, if anything happens as far as weather or any other issues through construction.
I just want to make sure that it's good as of today,
Yep,
you know,
yep,
that we're
it
not
is-
sending
it
it
is-
to them and we already know.
It is good as of
that-
today.
Yeah.
If there's any adjustments to that schedule, that will be something that I will make sure I get sent out to the residents. As far as the tree that the Nicholases are talking about, I think it was a maple. Yeah, it was a ornamental maple. It was a relatively small tree. We walked the site with Jurek. Jurek made the comment that, that we could save this tree and just be, scoop it out with a bucket, put it, relocate it in another location. Unfortunately, there's some other trees. I think there was a cherry on the property. It was not the most healthy, but unfortunately, that was pretty much right in the middle of the easement that had to go. But the ornamental maple, I do recall us specifically talking about potential to save that. So I will go back to Jurek and say, hey, your sub removed that tree. We talked about saving this for the owners. You're going to need to provide that as compensatory planting.
Okay. Okay, you want to,
Yes.
yes, if you don't mind, I'm sorry, it's just.
Is the button
I
green?
want to add. I'd like to add two things.
And your first name again?
I'm sorry, my first name is Louise Corson, 311 French.
Okay.
Last Monday, when this all started, and of course, none of us had any idea anybody was coming onto our property. So
That day, you didn't understand that
nobody
people were
knew,
coming.
nobody knew. Nobody knew. And every time a utility is coming onto our property, we are given
Me.
proper notice by a letter comes to your home. We all know this.
Mhm.
Pico's gonna shut down your power for the day. We get it, right? Nothing. Crickets. And this entire crew shows up and starts to destroy your property. It's unacceptable. That's the first thing I want to say. Second thing I want to say is this. We graciously gave the township, the engineers, and the contractors right of way down our driveway to approach the easement halfway down, knowing what they had to access could be done almost 50 yards down our driveway without destroying the 20 yards above it. It could have been done now that we see what they've destroyed 20 yards above it. Didn't have to be done the way they did it. And if anybody would like to come onto our property, we will give you right of way to lay eyes on what's been done, so you can see it didn't have to be done this way. And we would have granted you right of way as the grantors to this easement. It didn't have to be done this way. The third thing I want to say is, everybody should have a copy of this easement so that everybody understands the terms by which it needs to be put back, because it's all spelled out in that easement. We have a copy of it,
Yeah, that's our obligation, so.
okay? The
we
terms are
certainly will
spelled
be
out.
doing that.
It's a contract.
Yeah, so I guess you could, yeah, it's a
Okay.
contract.
Thank you. I appreciate
No,
your
we
time and
appreciate
attention
you.
to
We
this.
appreciate all of you coming out. It's a big project and, yeah, we hopefully moving forward, we can continue to address your concerns and, resolve them.
Stephanie Hannigan, 307 French. I guess, going back to when we first started this project, the last communication we had with anyone involved in this was in April. People showed up on the property probably a few weeks ago. They started marking properties. Then we had people out there with marking gas lines, marking all kinds of other lines. And then, the truck or the tree people came in and just started clearing things out. There's no knocks on the door. there are, there's people just walking aimlessly around the property, pulling down people's driveways. I don't know what we have to do to get better communication amongst this group. I mean, this is
That's the
completely
contractor.
unacceptable.
What can we do with the contractor so that these guys are getting more communication from and between the contractor so that they know what's going on?
We can either have the contractor provide handouts or door knock, or if you want to provide a collective email, I can pass that along to the contractor. Or the contractor can give me the updates and I can reach out to the property owners.
Yeah, I think that's what we need to do. I mean, now, because what's happening there tomorrow? I mean, like, we only meet once a month, okay? So, and, we have to comply with a lot of, statutory, regulatory requirements in order to take this project on. So a lot went on to make this happen. And unfortunately, what didn't happen was, something that we're not required to do, which is, things that would have made you a lot happier, it sounds like, by making the communication a lot better. So moving forward, I would have, at a minimum, like to see what we can do in order to make sure that there's not surprised by the next time someone's cutting anything down, I mean, or entering the property. I mean, what can we do moving forward? We can't change what's already happened, okay? But moving forward, we can at least get to a schedule.
Should be a point person. I think tree guy, work today, he went. I have other things to do, point person. Flipping stories depending. No problem.
I think, Dave, who would be the best point person? You, okay. So Dave is going to be the point person moving forward. If any of you have a question, you can
Contractors
email.
doing anything that is contrary to what your expectation is, call me.
George said they'd be there 3 weeks.
If it may be, we don't dictate means and methods of construction. We don't set their schedule. Other than they're obligated to complete the project in 365 days.
But if you want Dave to confirm that,
Yep.
we can get that done. I mean, it's,
Mhm.
as of, is it 3 weeks?
As of Friday afternoon, when I received the schedule, that is the schedule. So,
So can I ask a couple questions in terms of what this looks like are there gonna be days we can't use our toilets? Is there gonna be days we can't use the washer machine? Like, I mean, who is navigating what that's gonna look like for us in terms of what we should expect?
there shouldn't be any issues with, as far as days of service interruption for you. There may be a period of time when they're doing the lateral reconnection to the new sanitary sewer line, where they're gonna ask you to hold off on using your plumbing for maybe an hour. That is something that we always ask the contractor to convey to the property owner at least a day in advance, based on where they are with their schedule. So if they're coming in through and doing all their main construction, and then they decide they want to, they're going to put lateral stubs in, and then they want to come back and do the lateral connections after the fact, that's up to them. If they want to come in and connect folks in as they proceed with the main and lateral stub construction, that's up to them how they want to work. And sometimes that's dictated by field conditions and other things. But we ask the contractor to let the property owners know a day before that, okay, if in the morning we're going to be working on your lateral, give them a heads up that in the morning, we're going to ask you not to use your facilities for a period of an hour or so they can make that switch.
Okay. One other comment I have, I did talk to the contractor that was there this morning because I wasn't sure if they were coming down for this project or not. And he said, he was unsure how they were gonna even get the thing off the truck without damaging the street. Like, I don't know, down near you, he said there's no way that the street's not gonna have to be repaired as a result of the heavy machinery they're bringing in. So I do think someone needs to start putting eyes on what's going on in our cul-de-sac because I think a lot of this is being left unchecked.
Already interrupted. Mail service, you know why.
And we both work from home.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Comcast situation is something that's unfortunately typical for excavation projects. I mean, we see Comcast and Verizon. Yes, I understand. And yeah, I understand. And unfortunately, they're notorious for not responding to one call. It's their obligation to do so. As far as the other things, I understand when the contractor showed up, they put a porta potty in the way of your mailbox. Notified them immediately. They had it moved that day.
It's on my lawn.
Yeah, well, if it's on your lawn, it needs to be off the lawn. So if you have an issue, call me and I will get it addressed.
Kind of wander quieter in the next 24 hours or so.
Yep, we'll do.
I'll come by too.
Devastation. Well, that.
Yeah, there's no bones about it. It was going to be a disruptive project. I mean,
It's a big project. I mean, I remember some of you were here before and we talked about it. I mean, it's a big project. We had to take this out to bid. And I think we took it out to bid twice to try
yeah,
to,
we put it out. Well,
you know, because it's costing everybody in this community is paying
Correct.
for this project. All of your neighbors are helping to pay for this. And I know it's not your fault that you guys ended up with the type of sewer, you know, situation that you have over there, but you know, we're getting it resolved and this has not been a graceful part of the project. I can admit that and I apologize,
There's-
you know.
upfront
extent
stuff
that
that we
we're
had to
responsible.
deal with and schedule wise, we were looking at the contractor actually getting in there in the summer. And we took the feedback from the residents that they didn't want to have their backyards disrupted during the summer and we pushed the contractor off to the fall. So. Yep.
Yeah, when we had some of you here and we talked about the not doing it in the summer, she had red hair, the girl with
Yep.
red hair. She was like, oh,
She has no easement.
oh, okay,
No.
okay.
And I have a point.
If you're gonna speak, I'm just gonna ask you to go to the mic so that it's on the record, please.
I'm glad you mentioned it, Steve. This is for you. Our house routinely in any kind of a rainstorm has water that comes down from Earl's, down Forest, up, down our street, French, which is a cul-de-sac. And it picks up speed, goes around and shoots over the storm drain that's being repaired and comes down my driveway and floods our garage. And Steve, you and I talked about it when you were at my house. And there's probably another project that needs to be looked at because even when they replace this drain, there's not a question of taking the water off. The problem is it comes down and accelerates on our street so quickly that it goes right over top of the, I've stood there, I videotaped it, where it just goes over top. So
So, yeah,
something,
so here's what I would tell you. There's two things. One is the engineer for the township is looking at it.
thank you.
We think there is an issue probably upstream that needs to be addressed first, and so we're working on that. The second piece is you mentioned that you removed part of the driveway when you redid there. You actually lowered the front of your.
No,
driveway.
I didn't understand. There was a huge hump so bad that the car would scrape.
I understand, but
Driveway.
that may have been part of the reason why that was there, and you've now changed that, so we have to figure out how we're gonna manage what the change is.
So
So
that was on my property, not the street.
I understand, but it was diverting water, my guess is based on what you
I
said.
guess they didn't know how to contend with it, so they built a giant bump on the
Yeah.
top of the driveway that scraped the car when you came in the driveway. 14 years ago, when I bought the house, nobody could figure out why it was there. I guess that's why.
So anyway, I'm looking into, we are looking into it.
Please.
I don't know what the answer is going to be quite yet. It's one of several stormwater projects that we're looking at.
How would I get an update?
When we have an update, I'll get you one, but I don't, like I said, we have the engineer looking at it. He's looking at about 7 different projects right now.
Is it a 1 month timeline?
It's probably at least 6 months.
6 months.
Unfortunately, Mr. Corsino, that our, as the sanitary sewer board, our hands are tied when it comes to the stormwater issue directly, so.
Why are your hands tied?
Meaning that we have authority over the sanitary sewer system. The stormwater is handled by the township, which is a separate entity.
Not this group.
Not this group.
When do they meet?
They meet on the second and the fourth Mondays. So it's the
Got it.
Board of Supervisors versus the municipal authority.
And it's our understanding they are already aware of.
We are working on it.
Yeah.
I just don't know when we're gonna have an answer and when we're gonna have the funding to do what, depending on how big of a project it is. If it's what we think part of the project is, we can probably do it pretty quickly. If the second piece is bigger, it's gonna take longer.
I mean, Carlo, who's not here, indicated there's a storm drain at the top of Earl's where the new house is,
Yes,
which he feels is inadequate, and that's why there's so much water coming down our street. I don't know.
and we're looking, I've asked the engineer to look at the entire area and make a correction that's gonna be a correction versus doing a knee-jerk reaction of not, and guessing.
Well,
I wanna make sure it's right.
I've waited 14 years. I'll wait 6 months. Thank
And
you.
hopefully we can do it sooner. I don't want to give you an expectation that it's something different.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay. No, thank you so
Thank you for
much
coming.
thanks for coming and, we hope things are going to improve moving forward as far as communication is concerned.
You're welcome.
Right away down our driveway.
All right.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Okay, moving on. Consider approving the minutes from the August 18, 2025 meeting. I think everybody's had a chance to review those.
So moved.
Thank you, Walter.
Second.
Thanks, Steve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving on to the treasurer's report. Caitlin, are you giving us that in general or, okay?
Okay, so starting with the treasurer's report. Overall, we still look very good. We're about $11 million in the cash balance, a little over that. In addition to that, the full summary report is attached as well. Let me just put those. And currently, we were in the middle of the quarter, so there's no new billing. There's a little more expenses than revenues currently. The combined net is $108,496. We paid CDCA in the third quarter. However, we haven't collected any of the billing yet. RHM is also getting paid in this check run. And to note that total operating expenses are about 42.57%. Right behind that, you'll see the full detailed report. I'm not going to go line by line in that one. And you'll also find Fortnoff, the complete collection report. They currently have about $190,601 that they're collecting for us. And what they've collected so far this year is $38,951. And right beyond that, you'll see the aging report. And the total is $68,892. Total. That's all I have, unless you have a question.
Anybody with any questions?
A
Walter?
question, on the summary report, the second column, year-to-date account balances, now showing like an $80,000 loss for the year-to-date. Is that gonna turn? Is it something that we're expecting to collect?
The billing,
The,
we
like,
haven't done the billings yet.
So
For the
you're
quarter.
getting your
So it's
third
the coming-
quarter
coming on-
charges.
Okay.
That's
We don't get
supposed
the
to-
billing
That's-
until after the third quarter, so
Okay.
that's
Okay.
You're always behind.
Okay,
What is remind me again, what's the budget process and timeline for 2026?
Well, sure.
So,
Enough.
probably probably at your next meeting, your chair should probably assign who is going to be your budget committee from your group.
Okay.
And then we'll start working on that in the October month and start getting something presented to you. You have a little bit of freedom in that as a municipal authority, you don't have to have your budget passed by January 1. And your first quarter billing doesn't go out until later, so you have a little bit of freedom. You can actually pass it in January. And a lot of times we've done that because you have new board members sitting on, and it helps them to see what their budget is if they're sitting on the committee at that time.
And who will be involved in that process overall?
From the staff's perspective,
Yeah, for everyone. If we use.
usually there's,
Or like,
two from your group,
Okay.
from the 5 of you that come in and meet with the staff. This year, it will probably predominantly be Caitlin and I. Tom will have some input as the finance director on that, but it'll probably be Caitlin and I, most of it. George will be involved for expenses that are involved from the public works team and doing that. And we'll also involve who our provider of services to the pump stations are to make sure that we're looking at the whole project and looking at what potentially are some of the expenses that could be coming down the line of pumps that are starting to show wear or things like that, so that we know what those things are up front.
Any other questions? No. All right, engineers report. Dave?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a update on the punch list for landscaping. Really haven't had the opportunity to move that forward last month, so it's still on my report for an item to be addressed. What I need to do obviously is pull some sanitary sewer plans together from the sewer project and kind of correlate those landscape items with that and solicit some quotes for those restoration items. The bioxide issue, I had some follow-up conversation with Tom from Evoqua regarding force main pressure at the old Masters pump station, and he needed that information in order to properly set the dosing for the bioxide at that station. That was in support of Caitlin working on getting those systems up and running. I'm not going to belabor the French Road update. I just wanted to kind of add a little bit to the discussion that we did meet with the contractor on site. During that meeting, was specific to access from French Road and how they were logistically going to accomplish that. Identify trees to be removed, identify the extent of bamboo removal. During that site meeting, it was discussed that there was storm sewer in disrepair, which kind of set the ball rolling in order to get the quote to do that repair on behalf of the township. Before that meeting, we did reach out to, or I did reach out to Mr. Corson to let him know that we would be on site there. He wasn't available that particular day. So I did let him know that we were there to do that site walk. Aside from that, once the contractor did start with their clearing, I did have several conversations with Mr. Corson regarding schedule, scope of the clearing, the easement, the restoration, subsequent coordination with the authority and the staff and the contractors. With regard to,
Did you find that, I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt on this,
Yep.
but like, did you find it not in line with reality? Their complete, surprise that this work started? I mean,
Well, let me just say, I was out there the day that, I think Caitlin was out there that day as well. That we did the walk here within the last month and a half, probably about a
Within
month,
the last-
2 months.
within the last month, yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
and Mr. Corson was there. And so was the gentleman who lives right next door.
Carlos, yeah.
Carlos, was there. we said that we were coming in probably starting in September or October. I mean, when they're acting like it's a total surprise, I don't think that's a fair response. I'm not gonna have that debate with them on the floor, but,
Yeah,
you know, based on what I know what the conversation was that was there. Now, I do think there was some question going back and forth whether we would use their driveway as an access or whether we would go straight through. When we determined that we were going in with this stormwater line, it became very clear that we had to go straight through. And so.
so that should probably be clarified with them, that going down the one driveway was not going to be possible if we were going to combine both projects.
I told him that the day we were out on the field.
Okay.
I mean, I said it probably 4 times.
Yes.
I mean,
I just said, if we're doing this, we're gonna have to go through.
We said that we made it clear that we weren't certain that we were going to pull the trigger on the storm sewer replacement, obviously, because the board had to act on it. The authority had to act on the change order. Board had to agree to do the reimbursement.
Still has
If,
to.
right. it
yeah,
still
there was
has-
something holding
If
that.
that were to
decision.
occur, we're gonna have to disturb that entire area anyway. So
Yeah.
that was made.
Well, I think we need to make that clear to them when we're out there, and there was a timing thing on getting it approved by the township as well, and yeah, the change
Yeah,
order.
that all occurred very quickly.
Yeah,
Was it requested to move it up to
It was
by the homeowners?
by the
to
homeowner.
move the schedule up, yes.
Yes.
So,
Okay, yeah, that needs.
Mr.
just be-
Corson himself asked to move it up.
That maybe you need to be reminded also, to Maria's point, that we weren't told that.
yeah, no one ever came to us and said, we prefer to get this underway in the middle of the summer. And I can tell you what, if we would have gotten underway in the middle of the summer, I don't think they would have been happy. I just can't
Well,
imagine.
We were asked not to disturb the yard, is what I was told. And so we worked with the contractor. We figured we could make that work by waiting till the end of the summer, not to disturb the yard. And if that helped them, we were willing to do that.
Yeah, okay.
But we needed to get it done early enough in September and October, so that we could get the ground stabilized. And that's the reason why we had to move forward quickly
Yeah.
at this time, because we got to get ahead of what the weather will be. And if not, they're going to have mud in their backyards.
Yeah.
And so that's the reason for the pressure and
And-
trying to get done.
and in fact, the schedule that we have right now is gonna be pushing the limit. I mean, they're extending the project. I don't know that it's gonna take them this long, but, you know, depending on weather. It looks like they built enough buffer in to account for weather, but, if it does extend into October, that you're pushing the limit on seed germination. If we start to get frost at the end of October, it's really gonna inhibit the ability to restore and stabilize the soil and get germination of grass seed. So,
One other thing that one of the homeowners said was that the easement was specific to the language of what was needed, whose responsibility was whose.
yes, so there is an easement and I had shared with the authority previously the easement for Ms. Hannigan's property at 307 French. The easement agreement for 311 is very similar in the way it reads. Okay, so section 2 of the easement agreement. And this easement agreement was between the property owner prior to the Corsons owned the property. Section 2 states the authority will at all times after it performs any work or contracts for the performance of work in connection with the installation, construction, reconstruction, basically anytime you're doing anything with the sanitary sewer in the easement, cause the surface of the ground to be restored to the condition in which the same was found before such work was undertaken, to the extent reasonably possible under the circumstances, and consistent with the rights and privileges herein granted to the authority. It being understood and agreed that grantors, their heirs, successors, or assigns have not constructed and will not and shall not construct or permit to be constructed any paving, structures, improvements, fences, or obstructions on over or within the easement inconsistent with or interfering with the exercise of rights and privileges granted the authority herein, or permit valuable trees to grow thereon, and the authority will not be liable hereunder to the extent that improvements or trees within the easement are necessarily damaged by the authority, its successors, or assigns in the lawful exercise of its rights. Pretty clear.
Yeah, so there was a violation of the easement by planting all the stuff all over it.
Yeah, and that may or may not be the owner of 311's issue, maybe the adjacent owner's issue, but I can say that after we had the easement staked out and we walked the site, it's evident that a portion of Mr. Corson's driveway is not only in the easement, but appears to be on the owners of 309's property as well. So there's that as well. We're making every effort we can with the contractor to plate and protect the driveway. The contractor does understand if it's damaged, they have to repair the portion that's damaged, but under no circumstances are they obligated to repave the entire driveway. So we made that clear.
Can we make sure that this I'm hearkening back to the issue that we had with Vivian. Not Vivian, Rafferty, like trees being cut down outside of an easement, like it's been staked, but like sometimes these contractors need to be reminded.
And actually, I'm glad you said that, Maria, because that Jurek specifically asked that we restake the easement, add additional stakes along the easement boundary so that they could walk it. And we were out there walking with them. They were physically marking trees with spray paint to be removed during that walk.
And everything they marked at that time was within the bounds that we had at that time.
I mean, it seems to me that we've got, a homeowner claiming that there's stuff happening off of the easement.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we need to have a conversation.
If there's
with
anything
Jurek.
happening off the easement, then that needs to be corrected.
And I don't understand why the porta potty can't be just placed in that cul-de-sac. It's pretty big, away from mailboxes.
Yeah,
Like, it should not be
Seems to
placed on somebody's property
I don't know why it's not placed in the easement. I mean, but,
or in the
in
easement,
the easement, yes.
I mean, that's what really needs to
And it
happen.
may be in the easement, but on their property, front yard.
yeah.
We have to- we just have to go.
Go and take a look at it.
We're gonna
Okay.
take a look.
All right, thank
We
you.
need to look at the pipe that he's claiming is in the front yard. We need to look at and we'll do that.
All right.
If
We
I could
appreciate
make a suggestion, given their claim that there's like a lack of communication, every time you meet with them, can you issue like an email or a letter to them so that there is a trail? No, because.
And we will do
Things
that. I will
go
just tell
bad.
you, I think Caitlin has a trail going back for
Okay.
almost an entire month of
Okay.
communication,
Okay.
at least with Mr. Corson.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. It's-
I've been,
It sounds-
I've been privy to what's going
Yeah.
back and forth.
Right,
Caitlin is laying it out over and over again.
right.
Yeah,
But it just
and-
seems to me as an outsider.
And so is Dave.
Yeah, the timeline.
There's-
And when I can't get a response out, I kind of punted to Caitlin, hey, can you handle this for me? And she's done a fantastic job.
I'm just, a little surprised at the reaction, given that it seems to me there has been a lot of contact going on and a lot of communication.
I think they wanted something a little bit more specific than what we gave. I think they were hoping that we were gonna say, on Monday, we're going in, we're cutting trees. On Tuesday, we're doing X. On Thursday, we're doing Y. And that has not been done. That's what Dave sent out today. And we will do our best to help communicate that going forward. We do have typically it's in our contracts. I don't know if it's in this one, that it's the contractor's responsibility to notify the owners when they're getting ready to come on the property and what they're going to do. I'm assuming it's in this one.
Yeah,
And-
I'll talk to Jurek in the morning.
And so if they're not doing that, then we need to make sure they are. And usually we make sure that they give us a copy of that communication ahead of time. We did not do that this time. I will make sure that we get that
That would be great.
with working with Jake
Okay.
and Dave.
All right, maybe the rest of your report could be just maybe abbreviated, anything that needs to be highlighted.
No, I mean,
Given that
we
it-
had,
given
LNG provided another O&M report. They acknowledged that they're gonna be correcting one of the grease traps as part of their O&M agreement. Nothing on Stony Knoll. Nothing on the Little League Hickory Pump Station. We're working on the conceptual plans and estimates for the LSA grant application, which is due at the end of November.
Nice.
So within the next month or so, you should have kind of a summary from me for that. And that's really, I mean, we have the RFPs for the services for O&M that we'll be working with the authority staff on evaluating that and coming up with questions to go back to them for clarification. And that concludes my engineer's report.
Very nice. Thank you, Dave. All right, any other questions for
No.
our engineer?
No.
All right, moving on. Operation managers report.
I'm gonna try to be really quick.
Thank you.
I would give you, ask you to take a notice of the RHM flow report and mostly look at it because there was not a lot of rain in August. And it's a really good month to, the numbers that we see there are probably a pretty good idea of what our actual usage is. I think it's up a little, but I think it's probably a good number to use as our base.
Oh,
And so I just think that's a good thing for you to see. It is August, so there were some people on vacation, so it may be down because of vacations. But if you look at it, actual usage, that's probably pretty close. Then under KBX report that you have, I'm not going to spend any real time on that other than to just tell you to take a look at a few things. We're still waiting on the Hickory Pump Station piece that I'm going to talk about in just a minute related to the generator. We're still waiting on the generator for Wiltshire to come in. It has been ordered. We're just waiting on that. And Caitlin's been following up, and Caitlin has really stayed on top of all these issues, making sure that they're being addressed. She did mention the louvers at which place, Caitlin? Camelot. They now know what needs to be done and they're going to be fixed as well. I would make note for you that we did today get back a notice from our Mardini, something like that. I knew it began with an M. Mardini, related to the generator. In order to make it be a generator that can function not only at Hickory, but also could function at Tanglewood in the future, we need to do a $1,200 adjustment to the generator. If you remember,
Yep.
you approved the generator piece. I think it was about 38,250 or 38,500, something like that. So this would be added. It'll be on your next agenda as a change order, but we're going to move forward unless there's any objections with the board to get that done, because it really is, we're at risk not having it in, so we need to get that done. So that's all I have.
Thank you very much. No, I think we're all in favor of you moving forward with that for consideration. Okay, next, moving on, consider ratifying the reoccurring bills paid on check register A dated September 15, 2025, totaling $3,495.51. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Walter.
Second.
Second from Tim. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, next, consider approving the bills on check register B dated September 15, 2025, totaling $499,166.22. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Walter.
Second.
Second from Steve. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, consider approving the proposal from Mor Construction Services for, and I'm just gonna go ahead and read this the way it should read, 23,500 linear feet of sanitary sewer main to be cleaned for $2.06 per linear foot and televising for $1.95 per linear foot. Do I hear a motion?
Subject to solicitors.
Oh, I apologize. And I did want to make that subject to legal review. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Steve.
Second.
Second from Tim. Any questions or comments on that one?
Can you just, why this particular area? Why are we scoping and cleaning this area?
Well, the area that we picked is based on two things. One is RHM has been out and doing scoping and cleaning on the eastern side of the township. So we're looking at this one section, which is an older section in the township, not quite as old as some of the eastern side, but because RHM's been out there, we don't want to walk on the area that they're doing, so we want to focus on what's not being done. So that's the reason for that location in the township that we're doing. We're going with more because they came in with a bid, when we went out and requested bids for that. And that's what they came back with. Actually, this is under a co-stars agreement. And so that's how this is being done.
Dave, I just have two quick questions on this. Is this typical light cleaning is one pass of the jet? Is that sufficient?
It depends, Steve, on the condition of the existing sanitary sewer system. If there's an area that's subject to a lot of restaurants, a lot of grease buildup, one pass may address the issue, and they may need more than one pass. Generally, one pass with a jet machine will clean any solids that are deposited on the bottom of the line, anything that's kind of clinging to the side of the pipe, that will all come free. And basically they'll stick the jet up the line, and everything kind of peels off. It drains down. They collect anything that's larger rather than allowing it to go down the sanitary sewer system. But yeah, generally one pass of the jet truck, the jet machine through the line will be
So
sufficient.
based on their experience, they say, no, we need to do it twice, and then they bill extra for that if needed.
I don't think you're going to see a lot of that.
I just didn't know what's
So,
normal.
so what I would expect is, let's say they go up and they do that, and there's a blockage because of a root, or there's a blockage because of deterioration in the line and it's collapsed. That will be a separate project, and they'll come back to us and they'll say,
Okay, so
this needs to be done. The cleaning part, as Dave said, typically is not the issue. It's more that they get in and they find a blockage that they can't get past. And once they can't get past it, then that becomes the issue.
and then secondly, they have 4 hours minimum. Anything above 4 hours will be 8 hours. Billed automatic 8 hours. Is this a 4-hour job, or is this?
That depends on the length of sanitary sewer line they're going to televise in a particular day. They can probably get one 300 to 350 foot run done in, I would say, less than an hour, maybe a half an hour's time. Basically, it's one pass of the jet machine. Then they're going to put a television or camera down on some kind of like a robot, has a carriage on it, and then they'll just wheel that up the sanitary sewer line. And as they're going, if they see any anomalies in the pipe, if there's, Steve said, there's root intrusion, if there's water coming in through one of the joints, or there's a crack in the pipe, they'll stop. They'll kind of tilt the camera to the side. They'll document it, and they'll actually physically put something in their report. Typically is how they do it. They'll note the lineal footage from the manhole, which it is, and that's how they create their final report. So it depends on the condition. If there's a lot that they have to report on, it could take a little bit longer. If the line's in great shape, they might be through there in a half an hour to an hour and be done with it.
Great, thanks for the understanding.
Sure.
I mean, to your point, Steve, maybe that's an aspect of this that needs to be looked at too by way of legal review. Yeah. Yeah, we certainly don't want them taking advantage of clauses like that where they can just, extend it to 8 hours for no reason at all. Okay. I think we need to vote on this. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next, consider approving the change order to the French Road project with Jurek and Newtown Township for the stormwater project in the amount of $39,852. This will be paid for by the Newtown Township. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Steve.
Second.
Second from Walter, I think.
Yeah.
Any questions or comments on this one? We're all good, right? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, and with that, unless there's anything else for the good of the order, I adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
What's our shorthand?